Forget tech founders, forget Wall Street or Elon Musk. The real kings of wealth wear robes, not suits. Their followers call them pastors, but their lifestyles say something else. Private jets parked behind churches, $40 million mansions bought in cash, sermons broadcast to millions while offshore accounts grow in silence. It's enterprise, global and hidden in plain sight. From the megachurches of Texas to the spiritual empires of Nigeria, a handful of men turned faith into a financial system that dwarfs entire corporations. They don't just preach prosperity, they live it, and then some. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and stay to the end, because once you see how deep this goes, you won't look at religion the same way again. TV Joshua didn't just build a church, he built a broadcast empire disguised as a ministry. From a modest compound in Lagos, he launched SCOAN, the synagogue church of all nations. But this wasn't about Sunday sermons. It was global programming, miracle marketing, and televised healing, broadcast through his personal network, Emmanuel TV. Tithes came in fast. Not hundreds, millions. Families across continents wired money they couldn't afford, chasing the promise of blessings through a screen. His voice echoed across Africa, Latin America, and beyond. Every broadcast packaged as prophecy, every miracle a sales pitch. By the time he died in 2021, the empire was worth over $50 million. Real estate across Lagos, a $10 million church fortress, a digital archive still generating revenue today. Even his grave became a shrine, marble, gold, and 24/7 guards. The face may be gone, but the machine still runs. Critics called it illusion, stage-managed healings, money trails that disappeared. But millions kept believing, because belief prints more money than any sermon ever could. And this was just the beginning. The next pastor turned donations into degrees and built an education empire worth over $1 billion. Billy Graham. Before prosperity gospel became a business model, Billy Graham had already built the blueprint, not with diamonds or jets, but with reach, scale, and presidential access. His rise began in a circus tent in 1949. Within decades, his voice echoed across 185 countries, translated into 54 languages, and carried by satellite into homes, stadiums, and war zones. He didn't wear gold or sell miracles, but the machine behind his name moved like an empire. The Billy Graham Evangelistic Association pulled in over $100 million annually, supported by book sales, film rights, radio syndication, and global crusades that packed 90,000-seat arenas. His personal net worth neared $60 million by the time he died in 2018, built quietly, without scandal, without spectacle. But the real power wasn't the money, it was the access. Graham didn't just preach to presidents, he advised them. From Truman to Obama, 12 U.S. leaders called him for counsel. He sat barefoot with Lyndon Johnson discussing civil rights, opened Senate sessions in prayer, and calmed markets after Black Monday. He didn't chase power, it came to him. While others flaunted excess, Graham retreated to a log cabin worth $125,000. No mansions, no private planes, just a legacy built on trust, repetition, and a media network that still runs today, broadcasting old sermons, pulling new donations, and proving that influence, once earned, doesn't need a pulpit to stay alive. Enoch Adeboye. Enoch Adeboye doesn't chase cameras. He doesn't sell theatrics. But when he speaks, over 5 million people fall silent. As the head of the Redeemed Christian Church of God, he controls one of the largest Pentecostal movements on the planet, a spiritual network stretching across nearly 200 nations with tens of thousands of parishes and a financial footprint to match. His $65 million fortune wasn't built on flash. It was built on scale. RCCG owns vast tracts of land across Nigeria, including Redemption City, a sprawling, self-contained Christian metropolis, completes with its own roads, banks, utilities, and law enforcement. At its heart stands a 3 million-seat open-air auditorium, the size of a small nation. But the empire doesn't end at worship. Adeboye also oversees Redeemers University, one of Nigeria's top private institutions, with an estimated value north of $50 million. Tuition and donor revenue continue to fund its expansion, an educational arm wrapped inside a religious brand. Though he rarely wears designer suits or sits on gold-trimmed stages, Adeboye travels by Gulfstream, a $45 million private jet used for international ministry and strategic engagements. His homes are low-profile, tucked inside church-owned estates, guarded but never loud. He doesn't posture like a mogul, but the influence is undeniable. Adeboye's strength lies not in visibility, but in devotion. His power isn't announced. It's obeyed, quietly, consistently, globally. And while others chase attention, he commands a transnational kingdom, built not on spectacle, but on surrender. Hinn. Hinn turned healing into a global performance, not whispered in chapels, but staged under stadium lights, broadcast to 200 countries, and wrapped in spectacle. With a wave of his hand, crowds collapsed. Whether it was real or rehearsed didn't matter. Millions believed, and that belief funded an empire. At his peak, Hinn's ministry pulled over $100 million a year. Donations, product sales, conference tickets, and non-stop programming turned his sermons into high-yield assets. His personal net worth reached $70 million, with a lifestyle to match. A $10 million mansion on the California coast, private jets worth over $30 million, and hotel stays clocking in at $25,000 per night, all under the name of ministry. But empire invites exposure. In 2007, the U.S. Senate launched an investigation into his finances. No charges followed, but what surfaced was damning. Blurred lines between personal luxury and church expense, loose oversight, and spending practices better suited to celebrities than spiritual leaders. Still, the spectacle never stopped. Videos of him slaying in the spirit kept circulating, half worship, half internet meme. To critics, it was manipulation. To followers, it was proof. But one thing stayed clear. Hinn didn't just preach hope. He packaged it, sold it, and broadcast it as a brand. And the world bought in, again and again. Creflo Dollar. Creflo Dollar built a gospel around wealth and lived it to the letter. From a megachurch pulpit in Atlanta, he preached that prosperity wasn't just a blessing, it was a right. That message drew in over 30,000 members, millions more online, and revenue streams that turned faith into financial infrastructure. With an estimated net worth of $80 million, Dollar's empire runs on more than just tithes. Book deals, global speaking tours, media syndication, all monetized under the banner of spiritual success. He owns luxury properties in Atlanta, New York, and California. His garage holds 2 Rolls-Royces. His jet, a $65 million Gulfstream G650, famously funded through a global campaign that sparked backlash across media. His response: Jesus wouldn't ride a donkey today. But Dollar's real asset is branding. His sermons are broadcast like primetime content. His books promise life transformation through faith and focus. Every detail, from tailored suits to the stage design, is engineered to sell one thing: victory, not in heaven, on earth. Critics argue it's exploitation, that donations meant for ministry bankroll, mansions, and jet fuel. But the image remains untouched. Dollar preaches success, dresses for it, and surrounds himself with the symbols of it. He didn't just preach prosperity. He packaged it, then turned it into a lifestyle brand worn like armor, polished, bulletproof, and wildly profitable. Chris Oyakome doesn't just preach, he produces. Draped in tailored suits and backed by LED-lit stages, he built Christ Embassy into a global multimedia empire. What started as a prayer group in Lagos became Love World Incorporated, a sprawling operation of satellite channels, publishing houses, tech platforms, and a gospel music label that exports faith like a product. His messages stream across more than 100 countries, anchored by Love World TV, a flagship network broadcasting non-stop sermons, miracles, and music to tens of millions. His devotional, Rhapsody of Realities, is printed in over 1,000 languages and shipped globally, generating massive royalties and securing his footprint in homes worldwide. Add in tithes from his international congregations, concert-style conferences, and album sales from gospel superstars signed to his label, and the result is a personal fortune estimated at $90 million. Oyakome's lifestyle reflects his gospel of elevation: a private jet worth over $40 million, Bentleys, Maybachs, and multi-million-dollar homes, including a mansion in Lagos valued above $10 million. Everything he touches is scaled, branded, broadcast, but influence brings scrutiny. His high-profile divorce in 2016 sparked internal division and public backlash. Allegations surfaced: unchecked spending, centralized control, blurred lines between ministry and monarchy. Still, his audience didn't shrink. If anything, it solidified. His delivery, equal parts pastor, performer, and CEO, kept the cameras rolling and the donations flowing. Chris Oyakome didn't inherit power. He built it with cameras, content, and charisma. In his world, scripture isn't whispered in pews. It's amplified, syndicated, and streamed in high definition across continents. Faith, for him, isn't just a calling, it's a platform. Joel Ostein smiles, and the world pays attention. He doesn't yell, doesn't warn of damnation. He offers something else: comfort. Broadcast to over 100 countries, his message of positivity turned a small Houston ministry into the largest megachurch in America, and himself into a global brand with a $100 million fortune. Ostein took over Lakewood Church from his father and re-engineered it into a spiritual stadium, literally. The church now operates from a renovated 16,000-seat arena, once home to the NBA's Houston Rockets, transformed with over $100 million in upgrades. But Ostein doesn't take a salary. His wealth flows through book deals, media licensing, and sold-out speaking tours. Your Best Life, now alone, sold over 8 million copies and raked in more than $20 million. Just one title in a franchise of hope, repackaged as hardcover gospel. At home, Ostein lives in a $14 million mansion in Houston's River Oaks, 17,000 square feet, 6 bedrooms, 3 elevators, and imported marble from floor to ceiling. His garage holds luxury brands like BMW and Lexus. His reach goes beyond the pulpit into publishing, streaming, and interviews with media giants like Oprah, reinforcing a curated image of flawless grace. But even that image cracked under pressure. During Hurricane Harvey, Ostein was criticized for delaying the opening of Lakewood as a shelter. The backlash questioned whether the brand of service held up when the cameras weren't rolling. Still, his audience stayed loyal. His theology isn't about sacrifice or sin. It's about elevation, possibility, abundance. Joel Ostein didn't build an empire with fear. He built it with affirmation and sold it in stadiums, bookstores, and airwaves. In his version of faith, salvation isn't a struggle, it's a lifestyle upgrade. And millions bought in. David Oyepo didn't just build a church, he built a kingdom. Known as Papa across Nigeria, he stands at the center of one of Africa's most powerful religious empires. As founder of Winners Chapel International, he transformed a single congregation into a sprawling operation that blends faith, education, finance, and infrastructure, with a personal fortune estimated at $150 million. At the heart of it all is Faith Tabernacle, once the largest church auditorium in the world, seating over 50,000. But that's just the entry point. Surrounding it is Canaan Land, a 10,500-acre mega-campus valued at over $200 million. It's not just a worship center, it's a self-contained ecosystem. Private universities, banks, publishing houses, housing developments, and administrative complexes all functioning under his watch. Oyepo owns Covenant University and Landmark University, two of Nigeria's top private institutions, where tuition, donations, and grants generate tens of millions annually. His publishing arm, Dominion Publishing House, prints bestsellers that double as required reading across church institutions. Add a fleet of private jets, including a Gulfstream 5 worth over $40 million, and real estate across Nigeria, the UK, and the US, and the result is a religious empire with corporate structure and sovereign reach. Critics call it capitalism in robes. Admirers see strategic stewardship, but both agree. Oyepo didn't just preach prosperity. He built an entire city to prove it. His influence stretches from pulpit to payroll, from sermons to systems. In his world, faith isn't just followed, it's funded, scaled, and institutionalized. Pat Robertson didn't just preach. He programmed belief into a political weapon. With a net worth estimated at $200 million, he blurred the line between ministry and machinery, building an empire that stretched from the pulpit to Capitol Hill. As founder of the Christian Broadcasting Network, he launched the 700 Club, a daily broadcast that mixed scripture with strategy and prayer with politics, beaming into over 100 countries. But his wealth didn't come from offerings alone. Robertson expanded his reach through for-profit ventures, cable networks, a record label, and even diamond mining operations in Africa. His media empire generated tens of millions annually through donations, advertising, and syndication. And in 1978, he founded Regent University, a $230 million institution designed to train conservative elites in law, media, and governance. In 1988, He ran for president, not as a long shot, but as a strategic disruption. He didn't win, but the campaign shifted the political landscape, solidifying the religious right as a core engine of American conservatism. From that point on, Robertson wasn't just a televangelist. He was an architect of influence, shaping policy from behind the lens. He lived on a sprawling Virginia estate, valued at over $5 million. A quiet command post for one of the most powerful evangelical machines in history. His lifestyle was measured, but his voice was not. Controversial, provocative, and polarizing. He knew how to keep the spotlight. Hurricanes, elections, morality. Nothing was off limits, and everything was leveraged. Pat Robertson didn't build a ministry. He built a movement, one that monetized belief, molded voters, and manipulated airwaves. In his world, faith wasn't just spiritual. It was strategic power, broadcast daily, and designed to last. Kenneth Copeland. Kenneth Copeland doesn't just preach prosperity. He flies it, owns it, and defends it with scripture. With a personal fortune estimated at $760 million, he stands as the wealthiest pastor on earth, commanding a ministry built like a corporation and shielded like a church. His Gulfstream 5, one of 3 private jets, sits beside a $17 million airstrip, both owned by the ministry. Copeland Ministries operates as a 24/7 broadcast engine, pulling in over $30 million annually through syndicated television, digital subscriptions, and donation hotlines that never close. His books, led by the laws of prosperity, add another $5 million each year, selling the message that wealth is divine approval. Every dollar fuels the machine. His real estate empire speaks louder than sermons. A $6 million lakefront mansion near Fort Worth sits tax-free on church land. Ranches, studios, warehouses. The holdings exceed $25 million, all housed under nonprofit protection. The operation is legally airtight, spiritually armored, and financially unmatched. Critics mock his claim that commercial planes are tubes full of demons, but to his followers, the jets are justified. In Copeland's gospel, the higher you fly, the closer you are to God's favor. And with no signs of slowing down, his brand of sky-high faith continues to climb. They don't run corporations. They run congregations, yet their assets rival CEOs. Convoys instead of carpools, Gulfstreams instead of pews. While millions scrape together tithes, they build sanctuaries the size of stadiums, shielded by tax codes and wrapped in nonprofit status. The sermons promise eternal reward, but the profits land right here on earth. Jets, mansions, entire cities built on belief. This isn't just faith, it's enterprise. A system where scripture is currency, loyalty is leverage, and power hides behind stained glass. Drop a comment and subscribe if you're ready to keep pulling back the curtain on lives where faith funds empires, power wears a smile, and kingdoms rise behind pulpits, not palaces.